Happy Halloween to you. Forecasters predicting a Halloween boom this year, with Brits expected to spend a record-breaking amount celebrating by buying props like this. My next guest is sure to be among them. Every year, she and her family spend thousands of pounds decorating their home, which maybe isn't surprising, given that she's from Pendle Hill, also known as Witch Country. I'm just going to put this down because it's scaring me, never mind you at home. She is Sharon Bolton. She's in the studio now. She's written a book on the real-life history of witches and the supernatural here in Britain. Good morning.
Good morning.
To you. Happy Halloween.
And to you.
Now, this morning we've been concentrating on the fact that we are spending more than ever before on Halloween. It is the second biggest holiday now in this country in terms of purchasing power after Christmas. Tell us about how Halloween began and what it originally was compared to what it is now.
OK, it started roughly 2,000 years ago in the British Isles as a Celtic festival called Samhain, and it was to mark the time when the summer was ending, winter was coming in, the nights were getting longer and darker, and because people have a natural fear of the dark, they decided to face their fears head-on. So they lit bonfires to mark the arrival of winter. They dressed up in strange costumes. They had feasts. They said to themselves, OK, we're a little bit scared. We don't really like the dark. We don't really like the winter. But we're going to face our fears and we're going to say we're not afraid.
Let's
so that's how it all started, yes. So this idea that it's an American import in the last 10 years isn't really true.
What is an American import, though, Gamal will back me up on this one, is the spending power associated with it now. The elaborate costumes. I mean, there are some houses in my area you drive past and you think it's the entrance to a theme park.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also the kids who are spending, or the adults are spending loads of money on sweets for the kids who come trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Where's that in relation to Halloween?
Halloween has really caught the public imagination because people love being scared, and lucky for me they do, because I write scary novels. But it's natural to the human condition to be scared. And from the time that we lived in caves and we sat around campfires in the evening, the way that we dealt with our fears was by telling each other stories. Back then, we told each other stories about the saber-toothed tiger and the fearsome tribe in the next valley. But we're still doing it today. We do it when we watch a scary movie. We do it when we read novels like The Craftsman.
Why do you think that is, that people like to be scared like that?
Because it's a way of dealing with fear in real life. Children learn when they're very young that the world's a scary place. Now, some of these fears they have to be taught. Be careful when you cross the road, don't go with strangers, but others are instinctive, like a fear of the dark. And we have to give children the tools to deal with these fears, or they'll become overwhelmed with panic. And they deal with their fears the way we do, by experiencing them vicariously in their culture, through fairy stories, through Halloween.
Halloween is a massive part of your life. As you said, you write novels. The latest is The Craftsman, which you mentioned. But you are also one of these people that dress up their houses.
We do,
And you have over 1,000 visitors to your house. Here we go. This is just the start of it. This is your front door. What's the theme this year? Who's that?
That's one of my son's friends. The theme this year is the Game of Thrones. So there'll be a row of severed heads out the front. There will be banners, Winterfell banners and the Night's Watch banners. And my son and his friends will be dressed up as characters from the Game of Thrones. And children who knock on our door will be greeted by Daenerys Targaryen with the chocolate buttons.
I think there'll be a few adults turning up at your front door as well, if that's the greeting. But just in terms of what people dress up like, they tend to concentrate on zombies, witches. I mean, there are some fantastic images on Twitter, lots of you sending in how your children have dressed up. What's the most sort of popular Halloween costume, and what's truest to the origin of Halloween, if people are going to dress up today?
Dressing up as something scary, as a demon, as a witch, as some sort of animal, is entirely true to the origin of Halloween, because that's what our ancestors did 2,000 years ago. Popular costumes, little girls love to dress up as witches, particularly glamorous witches with the lovely sort of hats and the frilly skirts. Little boys can be a little bit more gruesome. They might be zombies or ghosts. But I am constantly surprised by how young children are drawn to the macabre. There is something inherent within the human condition that loves to be scared.
And when you're writing your novels, do you ever scare yourself? Do you ever jot a paragraph down and it's like, no, that is way too much, I've gone way too far?
Yes, and I disturbed myself. When I was writing The Craftsman, which is set in the Pendle Forest, which is where the Lancashire witch trials took place back in the 17th century, I had to research those trials, and I became very disturbed by what went on then, because I can see it happening now. I don't don't believe in the crime of murder by witchcraft. I think that's absurd. But something forced the community back then to turn upon those people, those 12 men and women who were hanged. At the very worst, they were guilty of low-level confidence tricks, but they were hanged because society turned upon them. And we still see that today. We still see witch hunts going on. And that, I find that disturbing. I find that a little frightening. And it's one of the reasons why I write the sort of books I do, and one of the themes I wanted to explore in The Craftsman.
Well, Sharon, really interesting to hear from you today on Halloween. Thank you very much, Sharon Bolton, author of The Craftsman. I mean, I've got goosebumps talking about Halloween. I'm not someone that's easily scared, but just talking about that has sent a shiver right down my spine. Jackie, how are you bearing up this Halloween?